Hey, what's up? You watching Raising Mindset? It's your boy G Uno. Alright, it's Words of Wisdom Wednesday. Y'all said it, Words of Wisdom Wednesday. If it's anything that you could ever listen or take from me, that's the be consistent. And y'all said it, be consistent. That's the only thing that we actually can do. You have to be consistent in anything you do. No matter what it is, no matter how big or small it is, you just have to be consistent so that you can get an overall growth in the end run. Because if you're not consistent, there's nothing that's going to change. Everything will be the same, right? All right, a point I have. If you want a better body, you have to be consistent. You can't just do things sometimes and expect some growth. You can't just say, hey, I want to walk around and get an 8-pack, or I want to lose some weight, or I want to gain some weight, or I want to add some muscle, I want to get my maxes up, right? You can't say that and just doing things sometimes. You have to do them all the time. You have to be consistent with it. You have to have a routine and stick to it. You can't skip the routine or say you're going to put it off for later, because putting it off for later turns into putting it off for never. You will never get it done. You have to be consistent and hold no gaps in whatever that you do so that you can have some growth on the end run. My next point is, if you want that boyfriend, that girlfriend, or even that friend, you have to be consistent. Like, you can't just talk to them sometimes. You can't do things with them sometimes. You have to do things with them all the time. Like, really, you can't have some days where you just like, no, you don't want to talk to them. You can't just talk to them every once in a blue moon, because it's not going to work out like that. That is not how relationships are going to work. You have to keep the same energy throughout. And yeah, you're going to have some bad days. They're going to have some bad days. Some days you're not going to feel like talking. But if you want the relationship to keep going, you have to be consistent. Next point I have. If you want a better grade in class, right? You have to be consistent. You have to turn in your work. You have to consistently study. You have to consistently get good grades on assignments. Consistently be nice to the teacher. Be nice to your peers. Do group work. You have to consistently show up. Show up when you're needed, right? That's how you're going to get the better grades in class. You have to be consistent. And all of this turns to being consistent. That's literally how the greats become great. They're always consistent in what they do. My next point is, if you're at that starting position, that's something I had to learn for myself. If you're at that starting position in any sport, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent in all the outcomes that you do. So let's say your team or whatever requires you to get something done. You have to get it done every single time. You can't just get it done sometimes and think that, oh, just because I got it done that one time or those other times that they're just going to let me slide. No, you ain't going to be able to slide. You have to be consistent with it. Be consistent with it all the time. Have no errors. Now, if you want self-growth, oh yeah, because this is something that a lot of us struggle with. A lot of us struggle with self-growth. We want self-growth. We want to do things for ourselves, and we want to do things by ourselves and know how far that we can get by ourselves with the help of no one, right? You have to be consistent. Be consistent, not for anybody else, but for the sake of your own self-growth. You have to be consistent. Do things all the time. If you want to get better at a task, keep doing it. Keep getting at it. Don't take no breaks in between it. You just have to keep going. And yeah, like, let me tell you, consistency equals growth. You cannot grow without being consistent, because, hey, if you're not consistent, things are just going to end. That streak that you had, that fire that's burning, it's just going to cool down. It's going to be hard to spark that fire again, because when it comes to then, you're going to have something that motivates you or wakes you up. So whatever you do, don't let that fire die. Just keep being consistent. Small gaps turn into big gaps, and that's all I can say. Small gaps turn into big gaps, and you don't want that. Keep your gaps small. Stay consistent, because the wider the gaps, the closer it is unto that fire to just burn out, and you don't want that fire to burn out inside of you. You was watching Raising Mindset. It was your host, G Uno. Tell me what you think in the comments. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, and yeah, I'm out.